Hey, Meeple people, how's it going? And on today's vlog, we are playing
Quests and Cannons, a 1 to 6 player game. This is a prototype. The game will be coming to Kickstarter at some point, probably later this year. This is from Short Hop Games, and they sent us this prototype copy for the channel. Thank you so much. This is a 4X game set in a fantasy universe. So 4X games, that stands for Explore, Exploit, Exterminate, and Expand. And so we will be doing those sort of 4 types of things as we play through this game. There are a lot of different ways to play this. You can play on teams, you can play fully competitively. Like I said, you can play with up to 6 players, so depending on the player count, you can do different things. The way that we're going to play today is a 1v1 like head-to-head battle. First to 15 points ends the game, and then whoever has the most points at the end of that round wins the game. So that's what we're going to be doing today, but there is a lot of other options available for this game as well, and all of the tiles make it so that you have like a variable setup, right? So we've got like these double-sided tiles, and they only have 3 like space hexes for each one. So we can fully customize this map. Lots and lots of customization and replayability options here. But for the game that we're going to be playing today, like I said, it's a head-to-head battle to get the most points by the time that the game ends. And the way that the points are going to work is through collecting and completing these map clues, collecting and completing quest cards, and then battling each other in sea battles, where we are able to at least damage our opponent. That may get us some points as well. So the way that it's going to work is on your turn, you get 3 action points to spend in any way that you want to. And you can spend them on the same thing over and over and over again if you want to, or you can spend them on 3 different actions if you want. It's totally up to you. There are 3 options for things that you can do. The first is that you can move. And so that would be 1 space, 1 action. Additionally, if you have sails, you can move even further by spending your sails when you make a action to move. You can also attack if you are in the same space as another player. So if, for example, we're in this situation here, I could spend 1 action to move into this space with Nick, and then I could spend a 2nd action point to attack him. And when you attack, you roll dice to resolve combat, and you can gain, like I said, you can gain points, and you can also damage other players' ships when you attack, which can be useful for sort of limiting them as well. And finally, the last thing that I can do is I can gather. So at certain locations on the map, there are resources. There are these face-down tokens right now. The first time somebody steps into one of these spaces, they sort of discover the resource that's available at that location, and you'll get a little bit of a reward for doing that. But then every time you or anyone else steps into that location, you can, for an action, gather resources of that type. So there are 5 different resources in the game. We've got lumber, canvas, metal, gems, and spice, and you can gather these from this various island locations around the board. And then you can spend those resources to make upgrades to your ship or to complete quest cards. So this is your ship. This is like your player dashboard, and there are several areas here where you can like upgrade your ship. We've got our sails right here. And I should mention at this point that this game is asymmetric. So my board is going to look a little bit different than Nick's just based on what we're allowed to start with and what we're allowed to have on our ships as well. Like, for example, I am only allowed to have a max of 3 cannons, and I only start with 1, but Nick gets to start with, well, actually that's the same for him too, but okay, here we go. Here's a good example. So I start with only 2 of my hull spaces open. Nick also starts with only 2, but my max is 3, where his max is 6. So we each will have a different sort of evolution of our ships, our player dashboards here. And all of these different areas are upgradable. So I can upgrade my sails so that I can move further on my turn. I can upgrade the number of cannons that I have on my ship, which means I'll roll additional dice in combat. And finally, I can upgrade my sort of cargo hold here so that I can hold more resources as I'm going around these islands to collect here. So, on my turn, I spend my 3 action points to do any one of the 3 things I mentioned, to move, to gather resources, or to attack a player. And then at certain locations, as free actions, I can upgrade or repair my ship. I can sell or trade goods, cards, resources, that kind of thing, to get points or to get resources or money or that kind of stuff. And finally, I will gain points by successfully attacking Nick or completing quest cards. And I think that's it, right? I think those are
maps,
the only,
quests.
and turning in map cards.
And then completing them and then turning them in to where you started.
Yeah. So there are a few different ways to get points. There's a few different things you can do on your turn. All in all, it's a fairly simple 4X game. 4X games in the past have been known to be fairly complex, fairly time-consuming games. This one feels like it's a little on the lighter side of 4X games. Box time is only 20 minutes per player, which is nice because some 4X games can be like, 10 hours long kind of thing.
10 hours later.
Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. There are really some 4X games out there that can take, 12 hours a game. So I'm excited to play a 4X game that will be a little bit lighter on the time crunch, a little bit lighter on the weight of decisions, that kind of stuff. I really like the concept of 4X games, but typically they're more commitment than I'm really willing or able to give them. So I'm excited about a sort of a lighter 4X game. Should we jump into it, Nick?
Yeah, let's jump into it.
All right.
We're going to go ahead and start playing and get back to you guys midway through the game. So yeah, again, we are playing Quests and Cannons, the Risen Islands, coming to Kickstarter this year by Short Hop Games. All right, see you guys in a bit. Toodles! Hey, Meeple people, and welcome back. So this is our midway point of our vlog of Quests and Cannons, the Risen Islands by Short Hop Games. So Sarah, how's it going so far?
I like it. I like it a lot. Apparently the cat has things to say as well.
Indeed.
I think it's really cool. I think it's a fun and fairly simple 4X game. I like the little bit of variable player powers and player abilities and stuff like that. I like the quests that we're attempting to complete. They're fun and different. I like the extra little side quests of trying to solve the map clues. Getting the loot is interesting. You have points during the game where you can choose to pick up loot, usually instead of something else. But you can get loot, and the loot can help with giving you one-time...
Yeah, one-time.
Yeah, it gives you one-time abilities, or it may give you ship upgrades that you can use to make your ship better.
And we haven't gotten that yet.
No, I had some in the practice game that were pretty cool, but I haven't gotten any for this game yet.
Because we want them points, Sarah. We want them prosperity points.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's going really well. I like it quite a bit. I think probably in most games like this, a player should kind of look at what their particular asymmetric abilities are, make them well suited for, and they should probably try to, take full advantage of that when possible. I'm not always the best at that. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to go do this thing, even if it's not the thing that I'm optimally, suited to do.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of doing that a little bit. I'm more suited to moving quickly in this game. So I should probably be trying to move around the map a little bit more quickly than I am, but I'm kind of just meandering and, going on these little side quests for the map clues or going on the main quest or that kind of thing. But I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. That's what I think. What do you think?
Yeah. I like the little side quests that you talked about. And my faction is more apt to doing the side quests. But I'm really enjoying it. and our time with this. I haven't played. I think you played more 4X games than I have, but and the ones I've played have taken a long time to finish.
I
But
think
this
probably
is-
the most recent 4X game that we've played was Seafall. We did complete the campaign. We played some like 25 games of Seafall to complete the
even some
the
extra
campaign.
games that because we couldn't figure out some things about that game,
And
we
that
had to play
did
extra.
wear me out a little bit on 4X games. That was a really neat experience for a lot of different reasons, but it was also a lackluster experience and sometimes a frustrating one.
Yeah.
So that was probably our most recent foray into 4X games, and it was a special experience, but it's definitely feels a lot different in this game.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying this quite a bit.
Awesome. So shall we jump right back into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. We'll come back at the end of the game.
I have 7 points right now. How many do you have?
I have 8 points right now.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna jump back in and come back with the winner or loser and a quick little bit of wrap up thoughts, and then get into a discussion after that. So we'll see you guys in a second. Toodles. All right, Sarah. Who won?
Me.
By how many points?
By
would
quite
you
a few.
say?
I had 17 points, and Nick had 12.
12.
I ended up with a couple of quests that had me bouncing back and forth between this location and this location, collecting items that I could find along the way. So I just kind of went this way and like grabbed what I needed to complete the quest over here, and then I went back this way and grabbed what I needed to complete the quest over here, and they were both worth 5 points. I had to collect 3 different items for each of those quests. It was a lot of stuff that I had to get on my way, and I had to upgrade my ship so that I had enough cargo holds open to hold all those items as I went. But I was able to pull all that off, and that nabbed me 10 points.
Very cool. Hey, Meeple people, how's it going? We're back into our final thoughts of Quests and Cannons by Short Hop Games. Coming to Kickstarter soon. So, Sarah, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so I really liked this. It felt like a quick playing 4X game, which the evolution of 4X games has been such that they've tried to come out with like faster and faster playing 4X games. And I feel like this is definitely on the lighter end of a 4X game, but box time is 20 minutes per player, and I would say if you know what you're doing, that's probably pretty accurate, at least for 2 players.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed having sort of a distilled 4X experience. I like the actions that you're taking in the game. I like all of the different ways you can like sort of upgrade your ship. I like the different sort of orders that you're filling for the quests and the map cards and stuff like that. This is all prototype stuff, but everything is very well thought out. There's like on the ship where you have the areas, well, there's automatically there's an area for everything, right? And then like areas where you may have to interact with those pieces, like for example with the cannons, when you fire a cannon, you can flip it over to show that it's been fired, and they put in like little finger holes here for everything that you would need to potentially flip around. So I think that everything was really nicely thought out. I like all of the like sort of slots on your ship. They make sense for what goes where and how everything like behaves on the ship. I think everything was pretty well intuitive, which I think is what makes it feel like a distilled 4X experience, is that just most things were just pretty intuitive.
Nice.
And I think overall it was really fun, and I really enjoyed it. The game, both times we played the practice game and the game that we played for this film session, I have wanted to like play more. So I think that's always a good sign. I think because there are so many different ways to play with based on like the different number of player counts and if you want to play team based or like head to head or that kind of stuff, I think there's probably a lot here to explore that we haven't seen yet. But I personally think I would have enjoyed it if the game would have been maybe a little bit longer. It's really nice to have a distilled 4X experience, but it would have been fun to keep playing too. So,
Cool.
what did you think?
I liked the time on it. I appreciated that it didn't take forever to finish a game, because I think there's a fine line between this is fun and this is just right to this is overstayed its welcome.
Yeah.
And I think this has hit that sweet spot for me for time wise for being a 4X game. But I liked how you had things to do always on your turn. The cards, the ships, the quests, and the map clues were nice because there was so many ways to get points. You get points through map clues, points through quests, points through attacking.
Yeah.
And it didn't close itself off in one way. We didn't really attack in our game.
We didn't attack a lot. In the first game, the practice game we played, I was like, maybe I should attack because that's one of the ways you can get points. And it seems like the game kind of like wants you to do that.
Yeah.
So I did attack in the practice game at least once.
Yeah.
And I can see where if you had the initial it's variable player powers. So if you had the player powers at the beginning of the game that made you like better at attacking right off the bat, then I could see where that would be a good strategy to kind of go down that path and just sort of like attack to get a lot of points.
Yeah. I don't think I think attacking too much would have been, you would have fallen behind. You would have sent the person back, but then if the person got to the point where like they could fly across and get away from you a lot of the times, I don't know. I think you just drag on the game. But possibly. I think if like you just need a few more points, and then or if you wanted to stop someone at a critical point, then yeah, I think that would be a good point at stopping someone and getting points.
Yeah, I could see that.
I like the fluidity of how you score in this game. But I mean, other than that, the prototype is nice. I'm interested to see what they do for their final form.
Everything here is really nice, even for, or maybe especially for a prototype.
Yeah.
Like I said previously, everything is very intelligently laid out, and it's laid out in such a way that it makes me really feel like they considered what they were doing here and how their players were going to interact with these components. So I feel like it was a very considerate physical manifestation of what they wanted their game to be. And I feel like everything in the prototype is very considerately laid out. All of these here, like I said previously, all of these here are double-sided. This is
all the pieces on the map.
Yeah, all of the C hexes here are double-sided. The C frame snaps together. So you can vary the setup quite a bit just based on how the components were created.
Yeah, in the rules they said you could kind of change a lot of things up, but you gotta be careful because if you just did everything random, there were some things that if you like steered away from what they recommended, you might have a really unequal distribution, and you just like the map would be kind of all wonky.
But they did in the rule book, they did have numerous suggestions for variations on the setup based on with complexity levels, based on player count, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of different variations that you can achieve with these pieces, and I think that based on how nice the prototype is, I feel like the game, the final production will be theoretically quite nice, just because it seems like they've really been very, very considerate throughout their entire design process.
Definitely.
To me, that's evident in their prototype. So hopefully their final form or their final production copies will be even better because they won't be a prototype, but they'll have a lot of those same considerations that we're seeing here.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, that was our final thoughts on Questing Cannons, The Risen Islands by Short Hop Games, and we hope you all enjoyed this vlog, and we'll catch you next time. Toodles!